Over the past 12 months, Bitcoin and Ethereum have outperformed just about every other financial asset. And during this time, Raoul, founder of Real Vision, has established himself as one of the front-running thought leaders in the space. So, in this video, we're going to hear from Raoul on the following. Is cryptocurrency still a good investment today? Which is the better investment, Bitcoin or Ethereum? And what does Raoul think about other competing networks such as Solana and Terra? Hi and welcome back. My name is Tom Heavey. I hope you're doing well. Now, let's get straight into our first clip.
Here's one that comes to us from Hero My Hero from the RV site. By the way, it's H-I-R-O in the first hero. And the question is, or the statement I should say, Raoul often says that macro doesn't matter much until it does. It seems like we may be approaching a macro moment. Where does Raoul see the macro play starting from this time? Is it currencies? Is it bonds? Is it commodities? Is it real estate?
I've been shouting and screaming that the biggest macro trade in all history is underway. It's crypto. Macro is crypto. See my interview with Dan Tapiero. He's the same thing. He goes, I don't care about the bond market moving 1% up or down when crypto is doing, well, Ethereum's up 500% this year. And somebody says, what's the macro play? This is the macro play, whether you like it or not. So is there a macro spill on? Well, we've just come out of a recession, so the probability of a macro downside event outside of a VAR shock, limited. You know, I've talked about the growth. Will growth slow? Great. You know, bond yields drift back down to 50 basis points. I can't get excited. I just can't get excited. When you've got the exponential age and crypto, where the risk reward is so gigantically, preposterously skewed, nothing else makes sense to invest in.
Here's a question that I already know the answer to, but I want to hear you say it, Raoul. It comes to us from Leonard from the RV site. Raoul, do you still favor Ethereum over Bitcoin? And if so, why? We were just talking about this off air.
The cash generated in the Ethereum ecosystem is like 100x the rest of the entire space combined. Something of that magnitude. There is a gigantic growth in the network, unlike any other space of this magnitude. That network has more use cases than almost any other network. Well, it's by far in crypto, but most networks in the world. It has a restricted supply because of the burning of ETH from the gas fees. Everybody is staking their tokens for ETH 2.0, so you've taken loads off the exchange. Then there are hundreds of billions locked up in, or about 100 billion locked up in DeFi, NFTs, and all of that. That actually leaves a free float of Ethereum of about 11%. 11% is all the available Ethereum that you could buy if you went into the marketplace. And we've got that demand shock going on in front of our eyes. Bitcoin has nothing like that going on. Yes, there is a supply shock. Yes, there's a bit of a demand shock, but it just doesn't have the network intensity that Ethereum does. And the same is happening to things like Solana and Terra and others at an earlier stage. So they're smaller networks and they're starting to get exponential growth. So they do well too. But yes, I'm probably now, I don't even know anymore because I bought some options as well. As I said in my tweet last night, I'm probably 85% Ethereum.
85% Ethereum in your asset allocation.
Probably because of, as I said, probably because I bought a bunch of options. I'm was about 5% Bitcoin, and then a bunch of volts. But I don't know yet. I think it's because I added the options, it's kind of skews the numbers. If I'm just looking at the pure spot, it's probably 75% Ethereum, 5% Bitcoin, and 20% others.
So if we could really quickly, social tokens. This comes from Off the Top from YouTube. Social tokens, what do you think the community is? And let me just paraphrase this question. The question is ultimately about social tokens. Why do you think they're so significant, and why do you see them as a driving force behind what's happening in this space?
All complex adaptive human societies have similar features. They have usually an organizing set of principles, a leader or group of leaders, a kind of a system of rules or organizing set of principles, as I said, and normally a value exchange. Like in religion, it's like you do these things, you go to heaven, you do those things, you go to hell, and you give some of your money to the church. In sovereign states, there's a system of money. So what you're doing, we had communities online for a long time, but once you add a system of money, you've created a digital nation state. What you do then is you create network effects around communities. So the more people you bring into the network, the more powerful it becomes, the more the value of the network goes up, and the more the network participants share in it. And so it's really difficult to get your head around until you can't unsee it. And when you can't unsee it, you realize it's going to be the biggest change in global business models for hundreds, if not thousands of years.
Raoul, monster show here today. If this were a loaf of bread, it would be stamped now 50% larger than before. So much we covered. Somebody just wrote in the YouTube comments, I'm watching as they fly by, Raoul is to Ethereum what Saylor is to Bitcoin.
And I'm not an Ethereum maximalist. This is the facts, right? In maybe 6 months' time, I'll be talking about something else. I'm not an Ethereum maximalist. I am investing based on the facts that I see them, the research that I've done, and the risk reward that I can ascertain from it.
Okay, so Raoul mentions some very interesting points in this video. For a start, he does not mince his words in saying that crypto is the biggest macro trade in history and is happening today. Like he says, who cares if bonds are up or down by 1% when Ethereum is up around 500% this year alone. Now, when it comes down to the question of Bitcoin versus Ethereum, Raoul currently favors Ethereum. Why? Well, as he discusses, the cash generated from the Ethereum ecosystem is around 100 times more than the rest of the space combined. That comes down to a combination of the network itself being so valuable to secure, but also in the growth of the real use cases on Ethereum. From DeFi having $100 billion locked up to NFTs going mainstream in the art world, the uses are here. And for me, it's really quite special to see because I was working full-time in the crypto space during 2017 and subsequent years. So I saw the growing narrative that every single ICO would fail and they were all just pipe dreams. Now, of course, many did fail, just like so many regular startups do. But we're now seeing the real growth and development in so many projects that were once just ideas. Raoul also briefly touches on Solana and Terra, Ethereum's major competitors. He mentions how they are going through similar growth trajectories to Ethereum in previous years. Now, this is something that Raoul has also touched on in other videos. He's talked about how Ethereum's growth today resembles Bitcoin's growth just a few years ago in a remarkably near identical fashion. Because network effects are so important for cryptocurrencies, we tend to see similar growth trajectories across the entire space for the networks that succeed. The main difference is simply how early or late they are in their trajectory. So, considering this, why is Raoul not more heavily invested in Solana and Terra? He may have some holdings, yes, but 75 to 85% of his investments are in Ethereum. Well, this is due to the huge growth of the Ethereum network. In spite of high transaction fees, Ethereum is still by far the go-to choice when looking at smart contract platforms. The vast majority of Ether is also locked up between burning transaction fees, DeFi locking up $100 billion, the preparation for staking, and NFTs. Only around 11% of Ether's supply today is floating. And that means just a small amount of buying or selling can push the price severely in either direction. And obviously, given Raoul's opinions, he believes the price is far more likely to rise than to fall, and most likely to continue rising in exponential fashion. Now I'm interested to hear what you think. Are you heavily favoring Ethereum like Raoul, or are you also invested in other networks such as Solana and Terra? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again very soon.